Okay, so the review. It took some time, but the review is finally up, and it's pretty straightforward. For 30,000 naira, you'd have trouble finding a better phone. Its selling point is supposed to be its selfie camera, but personally, I don't think so. The pictures are okay, but nothing special. And the same can be said about the rear cameras. Sometimes they are good, but most times they're just okay. But just like every other mid-range and more affordable phone, if you take pictures outside when it's really sunny and bright, they would turn out okay. There is some sort of portrait mode on this, but as you can see from the shots, it's nothing too spectacular. The macro, surprisingly, was actually kind of decent. Numbers aside, the quality is average or even below average. I was expecting a top quality, good camera and maybe sacrifices in other departments, but I really wouldn't recommend anyone buy this phone primarily because of the cameras. But on to other positive things. The design is great. It's plastic and the back is removable, but it feels so modern. And that is definitely a plus, especially at this price point. The back has this wavy pattern and it feels so good to hold. The power button is also textured, so, nice. The front of the phone looks like the mid-range Samsungs from last year, with that teardrop notch and then the chin. It's kind of still a lot, but it's fine. The display is 720p, it's an LCD panel, it's 6.5 inches, so it's definitely huge. And indoors it's pretty visible, not so much outside. That huge screen is super nice for content watching, and definitely because of its battery, its 4000 mAh battery, you're going to do a lot of watching. I never worried about charging, I just plugged it in at night. Charging is definitely still slow, nothing special, no sort of fast charging, but because of how good the battery is, it's not that big a problem, considering you would charge less. One thing I definitely wanted to test out was performance. This phone has 1GB of RAM, and at first I was like, why? Why in 2020 should a smartphone come out with 1GB of RAM? But then after a bunch of research, it turns out that there are phones in this price point and they tend to have 1GB of RAM. So it's not just peculiar to the S16. And yes, performance wasn't great. It's designed to perform basic tasks like calling, sending messages, social media, browsing, and maybe some light gaming. But even while doing these tasks, it still lags. Opening apps takes about 3 to 5 seconds, sometimes even more. Just going through the UI, it feels a bit unresponsive. A bit too much for me. So definitely Call of Duty or any more intensive game cannot be played on this. It's really the phone you buy for someone who's just trying to get the Android experience for really cheap. If you're someone coming from a higher phone, a mid-range phone, or a flagship, then you'll definitely notice this lag. But if this is your first phone, or perhaps a phone you want to get your grandparents, its 5-second delay wouldn't really be a problem. Some little things. It has 16GB of storage, which is non-expandable. That doesn't really encourage you to take more pictures, but okay. It runs Android 10. This particular model has the Go edition. It also has Face Unlock, which I really didn't even use because it's definitely not as secure. And then it has a fingerprint sensor, which isn't blazing fast, but it works most times. So yeah. It's priced at 32,500 naira, and really anyone buying a phone at this price knows he expects basic performance, a basic camera, and even basic design. And I think the S16 is a major competitor, if not champ, at this price. There really isn't any phone that you could buy that matches the S16. The only one I could think of is the Samsung Galaxy A3 Core, but that has worse battery. So I don't know. What do you think of the itel S16? Let me know in the comments down below.